Welcome to the Handed Down Kitchen, where we bring recipes out of the past and back into the kitchen. Christmas is on its way, so we thought it would be a good time to share some antique Christmas recipes, starting with this real Victorian Christmas pudding. The really rich, dark Christmas puddings we're used to today are like Victorian plum puddings. Victorian Christmas puddings were golden and lighter, which was probably needed after a really heavy Christmas dinner. We found this recipe in our copy of Warren's Model Cookery and Housekeeping book, which was published in 1865 and is the oldest book in our collection. This Christmas pudding recipe is right above two plum pudding recipes, so while many Victorian families did make plum puddings for Christmas, there was a distinction between Christmas puddings and plum puddings, which you can see an illustration of here in figure 3. Now, we've halved all of the ingredients because Victorian puddings were truly massive things, but still ended up with enough to fill 3 pudding basins, so bear in mind you might want to reduce the amounts further still, and you'll need the following ingredients. 65 grams of sultanas, 230 grams of raisins, 170 grams of candied citrus peel, 230 grams of currants, about 2 tablespoonfuls of plain flour, 230 grams of beef suet, 170 grams of fresh breadcrumbs, 5 eggs, half a pint of milk, 1 nutmeg, and half a wine glass full of brandy plus extra to serve with. Make sure you have a nice big bowl, as this will make it easier to mix without spilling, and pour in all of your dried fruit, your raisins, currants, your sultanas, and your candied peel. Then add in your fresh breadcrumbs, your beef suet, and grate in half of your nutmeg. Mix this all together until everything is combined. In another bowl, beat up your 5 eggs. Pour these into the rest of your mixture and then add in the rest of the wet ingredients. Add in the milk and the brandy, and then mix these all together again. Have a buttered pudding basin ready, or a few if you're making as much mixture as us, and then fill these to the top with the mixture. These puddings will rise a little, but not too much, so you don't have to leave very much space between the top of the pudding and the rim of the basin. Take a clean piece of cloth and coat one side with flour, then make a fold in the middle and put this flour side down over your pudding basin before tying it up tightly around the rim with a piece of string. If you don't have any cloth to hand, you can always use greaseproof paper instead. Trim off any excess cloth, and there you have your puddings ready to steam. The recipe says to steam for 6 hours, but as our puddings are less than half the size of what the giant Victorian Christmas pudding would have been, we steamed ours for 2 hours and 15 minutes. You can make these in advance and store them to mature for Christmas, which is what we're going to do with one of ours. We're going to see how this goes. And when you're ready to serve, snip off the string, slowly remove the cloth, and then turn your pudding out onto whatever plate or stand you're going to use to serve it on. We know that Victorians would decorate Christmas puddings with holly, so we've stuck a cleaned sprig in the middle of ours. Finally, the recipe says to either serve with burning brandy over it or arrowroot sauce, and we've gone for the former. We've used Grand Marnier. And look at how spectacular this is. This is a real Victorian Christmas pudding. It's really nice and rich, but lighter than the very dark plum pudding style Christmas puddings you'll be more familiar with. So if you like them, but they're usually a bit too much for you, this 155-year-old recipe might be a winning replacement. We hope you enjoyed this video. If so, please leave us a like, and if you'd like to see us recreate more antique recipes, be sure to subscribe to our channel. You can also find full instructions for this recipe and many more on our website, linked in the description box below.